Hi, and welcome to Issues and Insights. I'm Jarrett Cox, and when I think of insights, there's nothing more insightful than a good book, and I have the perfect guest to talk about that. I have Rebekah Akers, the head of Adult Services at the Holden County Public Library. How are you?
Just fine. Thank you for having us today.
Well, I'm happy to have you here, and I'm happy to talk about the Adult Summer Reading Program. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So when you think of summer reading, oftentimes you think of the children's programming, and they have fantastic things going on, which they'll talk about here in a little bit. But we also have a lot for adults, and this will be our 12th year having an adult summer reading program. 2020, the COVID year, we continued providing summer reading program, and that year it was completely online. Last year it was a hybrid. It was sort of half online, half in person. This year we've gone back to basically normal, where it's you pick your sheets up at the library, you submit your completed challenges at the library instead of submitting them online. But there will also be a lot of online options for things that they can complete. So do you want me to just go ahead and sort of outline how they're going to go about doing that? Okay, well, when you come into the library starting May 31st and it goes through July 9th, you can pick up a bingo card, basically. This year is different from the other years in that it is a build-your-own bingo. So instead of having a specific challenge listed on each square, you're going to have an entire list of challenges that you can choose from on the back of that bingo card. And so you choose what you want, and you put it in whichever square you want. And that way you can build your own bingo and maybe have an easier time of getting those 5 in a row and getting prizes. So the challenges this year, we have loads of reading challenges and loads of activity challenges. So you could potentially, not even have to read a whole lot of books, because some people can read a book a day, some people it might take a couple weeks. And so to have all of those challenges be reading challenges would make it a little bit intimidating for people who don't necessarily have the time for that. But we also provide opportunities for people to go online, access our databases, do different activities with those via our website, come to library programming, come and hang out on the library lawn, which is sort of a new feature. We've always had the lawn, but we have just recently opened it in terms of access from the inside of the library out to the backyard. And people can go out there, flowers, trees, there's an amphitheater, there's a little gazebo, they can take a picnic out there, read out there, meet friends out there. So just kind of a nice little park environment. And so there are some challenges related to that. So a lot of things for, basically, it is meant to be something that everybody can be involved with. Even if you're not a reader, there are things that you can do. And it's not something as well where you have to complete something. You don't have to complete the entire card. For every single challenge that you complete, you're going to get a raffle ticket. And every raffle ticket enters you into the weekly raffle prizes. Every bingo that you complete gives you a grand prize ticket, which enters you into the grand prize at the end of the summer, which is sponsored by Swope Family of Dealerships, and they have donated a $100 gift card, Visa gift card. So that's our grand prize. And all you have to do is complete one bingo to be entered into that. And of course, if you complete your card, then you get loads and loads of tickets and lots more chances for prizes, and you can do another card. You don't have to just stop at one. There are plenty of challenges for you to, we have a lot of patrons who get really excited about it. A lot of patrons who just want something to do during the summer, and they just do what they can. But we have a lot of patrons who are like, I'm going to finish this entire card. And then they want something else to do. So they can do that.
Build your own adventure with a $100 gift card on the line. I tell you, now I'm excited about it.
Great. Yes, our weekly prizes are really great this year as well. We have so many community businesses have donated some, gift cards for meals and different things, and so a lot of and book baskets and book bags and library T-shirts, so all kinds of prizes.
One thing that I think is important to note, because I'm not from the county, but I went to college at Elizabethtown Community Technical College. You can get a library card if you're a student at ECTC.
Yes, absolutely. Even if you are not in county, even if you don't live in the county, if you attend an in-county school, such as ECTC, then you get that. Then yes, you are eligible for a free library card. Same thing for if you don't live in the county, but you work in the county, or you own property in the county, you can get a library card. Mm-hmm.
And what's the cost if you work in the county?
Well, there is no cost if you work in the county. Now, if you don't, like you don't work in the county, own property, or attend school in the county, or live in the county, there is a $25 out-of-county per year fee, which is still pretty cheap when you consider all of the resources that are offered.
I know where I'm going as soon as I get time this weekend. I'm going to go get my library card renewed. I got to read so many great books when I was a student at ECTC, thanks to the public library.
Wonderful.
And yeah, I love my library cards. I've had a lot of great librarians over the years, and it's really a great resource.
Yes, yes. Great resource. You know, everybody obviously and should associate a library with books, because that is still obviously one of the main things that we provide. But people may not realize the depth of the online resources that we offer in terms of our databases. Mango Languages, where you can learn, I think the number 70 is sticking in my head, but I don't think that's the correct number, but somewhere around 70 languages for free that you can receive language tutorials. Comics Plus, which is a new graphic novels database for kids, teens, and adults, which I think our teen librarian will talk about later.
I'll have a lot of questions about Comics Plus.
Good. And just so many tutorials for computer skills, for computer applications, for interview skills, job search skills. I mean, that's just naming a few. There are just so many things if you get on there and start exploring the online resources. So many resources for kids, for parents, teachers, homeschoolers, prospective college students, vocational exams, tutorials and practice tests, and I mean, it just goes on and on. So, so many things that people can hopefully, and that's one of the things that the Adult Summer Reading program promotes is, since we don't have like story times, it's not like the adults are gathering for a specific program necessarily. So I try to format the challenges such that they can explore the library. Maybe some things that they haven't noticed are on our website or haven't noticed are in our collection. And so a lot of the challenges will sort of lead them to look a little bit deeper into what we offer.
And I know that the Hardin County Public Library's graphic novel section is part of the reason that when I was at ECTC as student government president, I spearheaded a graphic novel section getting started at ECTC because I loved what the public library had to offer, and I wanted to expand at the ECTC.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, and it was actually an ECTC student at our library who was a longtime employee who really spearheaded building the collection, the adult graphic novel collection for us several years ago.
It's going full circle. I'm sure Lori McKellar's head is spinning somewhere. And speaking of the lawn and all the great stuff that the public library has to offer, I keep on mentioning ECTC. There's now a walking trail where you can walk from ECTC to EC3 to the public library.
Yes, and how very convenient. It's neat to have so many resources so close that you can have, sometimes we have partnerships with ECTC with facilitators or programming, and it's really nice to have that opportunity very close by.
And being able to walk from those two schools to the public library, that was a walk that I made quite a bit. And, it makes it a lot easier now having that walking trail, and you get to see some great nature.
Yes, very nice.
So what about the summer reading program? What are some of the things that adults enjoy about this program?
Well, a lot of them just have that competitive spirit, and they are just waiting for that challenge sheet, whatever form it might take. And again, this year it's a build your own bingo. They just wait for that to come out, and they're just ready to go and want to check them off, and they just have that competitive spirit. They want to finish it. A lot of our adults that are returning adult summer readers are teachers. And so throughout the school year, they're very involved in the things that they have to be doing, things they have to be reading and instructing. And so summertime comes, and it's just a really nice opportunity for them. Gives them a little bit of guidance. With those challenges on the back of the bingo card to say, okay, so I'm going to go look for this. I'm going to go look for this. But then ultimately the choice is theirs, what they choose to do. And so I think it's nice to have that guidance, but also to have a little bit of freedom and to be rewarded for it with all of the opportunities for prizes.
And I was looking at the bingo sheet and the challenges before we started, and one of them was actually grab something random off the shelf. I mean, I'm sure that this gives people an opportunity to grab something they may not have thought about reading before.
Right, exactly, because a lot of the challenges are very specific, like choose something with a blue cover or something by an author over 100 years ago or something like that. But yeah, some like that, it's neat to just pop out there and just grab something and see what it's like.
So, since the outreach department wasn't able to be here today, can you tell us a little bit about what they're doing out in the community this summer?
Sure. So the outreach department is out in the community quite a lot this summer. Some specific dates for their little pop-up library, so they take the bookmobile around and open it up to kids and families, and oftentimes might have games or activities for them as well, and prizes. They are specifically during June and July on Tuesdays going to be at Freeman Lake. That's 10:30 to 12 in the morning. Wednesdays, they will be at the farmers market from 9 to 11. And Thursdays, they will be at the Colvin Community Center in Radcliffe from 9 to 11. Now, those are what's currently specifically scheduled that is on a weekly basis. But they will also, they're also going to have some programs popping up at Freeman Lake, West Point School in West Point, and I think probably a lot of others that they're still working on. And people can keep updated about the location of the bookmobile and where they might be able to find those pop-up libraries throughout the summer on the Hardin County Public Library website.
And it is such a great, your library website is such a great resource. We'll have that down below. But you can find books that you might want to read, and you can reserve them if it's not in.
Absolutely. You can reserve, even if it is in, you can reserve it so that we pull it for you, and all you have to do is pop in and grab your book. And so, we try to make it as easy as possible for people to, and patrons in Radcliffe or in surrounding areas around, if it's too difficult for them to get to the library, all they have to do is let us know. We will pull what they need, send it on the bookmobile so that it can be at one of those stops and people can pick it up from there. Sometimes people might find it difficult to get in, but that doesn't mean that they have to be limited in their services.
I know, living in Hardin County, being able to reserve a book and knowing that when I made that hour drive to Elizabethtown, that book would be there for me was so helpful and really.
Oh, great. Yes. Very good.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us. We'll have all the information about the summer reading program below. Please be sure to check it out and get a good book this summer. Welcome back to Issues and Insights. We're going to talk more about the great things that the public library is going to be doing this summer, and we have Rebekah Akers and Adelle Malone to talk a little bit more. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the events you're going to be doing this summer?
Yeah, we've tried to make sure that our children's calendar is just jam-packed with stuff to do. School's out, and so kids have a lot of free time on their hands all of a sudden. And we want to make sure that the library is one of the first places people think of when they think of, we've got a couple hours on our hands, let's swing by the library and see what they've got to do. Because all the programming we've got is completely free. And even if we're not hosting something at any particular time, we just like to be sort of the first place on people's minds. So we've got the usual story times that you think of. We've got a couple of children's yoga programs that we're doing. We've got some tween events for those 9 to 12-year-olds who are sort of in that awkward spot trying to figure out what they want to do for the summer. We've got art things. We've got Lego Club. We've got board games. Once a week we'll have a dog in that the kids can practice their reading with. So there's just lots of stuff to do.
Yeah, I know sometimes I feel like I need a dog to practice reading with. So you mentioned the story time, and I understand that's returning.
Yes, so we took a small break this summer, in May, just so we had time to decorate the children's department, give it a little summer reno sort of thing. So we took a little break. But we'll be back this summer with our toddler story times, our baby and me, our preschool stuff, but as well as bringing back our kindergarten through second grade story time that we'd been doing for a little while. So they're back with a vengeance. So every week we'll have a couple of story times sprinkled in that people can come to, sing songs, listen to a story. There's almost always some kind of activity that we do along with it. It's a great time. We have lots of fun in our story times.
And I know that all the events you have, your calendar is always jam-packed. There's
Yes.
always something going on at the library. Are you going to have a magician there this year?
Yes, so we're very excited to have Aaron Harp. He is kicking off our summer reading program, so he'll be there on June 1st at 11, sort of in the back part of the library. We wanted to make sure he had lots of space for everybody who might want to attend. He will be doing some magic and illusions. I know his wife is his very lovely assistant. Sometimes his kids pop in and help out as well. And so we're really excited that we were able to snag him to open us up for the summer.
And you're also going to have Dr. Gerard talk about Kentucky reptiles.
Yes, and now Dr. Gerard is a returning event. He's done it a couple of summers in the past, but it's been a little bit since we've had him. He's actually a local family doctor, so some folks at home might know him personally. But he will be bringing in a few of his reptiles, sort of talking about the local reptiles that you might see out in your backyard or out at the lake or the river when you're out exploring. And so he'll also probably be in the back of the library, so we've got lots of room to see who he brings, and he'll teach us a little bit more about him.
So I also know you're going to have an author event, Gnome on the Roam.
Yes, so both Aaron Harp and Dr. Gerard are in June, but our author event will be in July, so we've got, like I said, lots of fun stuff all summer long. So this is actually the sequel to the first Gnome on the Roam. So our author will stop by, she'll read her story for us, and then the unique thing about Gnome on the Roam is that it's a very customizable story. All of the pictures in the book are uncolored, so it gives the children a chance to explore their own creativity, which is sort of the theme of the stories. So they have a chance to color and decorate the book and their gnome the way they imagined in their head. So the activity that'll partner along with that author event is a color war, like the color runs where they have that powder that you get to sew. They'll get to get a little messy this summer too with that.
So we talked a bit about the adult reading program. Now there is a kids reading program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So our main goal with our summer reading is to help combat that sort of summer slide where kids they finish school, they just want to relax and have fun, I get that. I remember when I was a kid, I just wanted to relax and have fun. But the problem you run into if you don't do any reading or you don't do any sort of mental challenging work is you can sort of lose some of those skills that you picked up during the school year. So with the summer reading program, we like to help fight that a little bit and make sure kids are still exercising their mind a little bit. So we'll have a daily reading sort of challenge where kids are encouraged to read for just 15 minutes a day. Actually, I think our teens, we try to get them to read 30, just push themselves a little bit farther. And if they fill out their challenge sheet, then they can win a free book. But like Rebekah's Build Your Own Bingo, we also have a challenge map. It's a treasure map to fit with our Oceans of Possibility theme. And as they're making their way through the treasure map, trying to get to the X that marks the spot, there are little challenges along the way, like read a book with a blue cover or read a book with an ocean animal on it. Just something that'll help them sort of get out of their comfort zone, try new things, maybe find a book that they wouldn't have read otherwise. And when they finish their treasure map, they'll get little challenge tokens where they can either spin them in our prize cabinet or the Sicilian Bank has donated a couple bikes for us again this year. So they can enter in a raffle to win those bikes potentially. We've got lots of stuff that they can buy with those little tokens if they want to. So we try to make it a good time so they don't, so they enjoy reading and they enjoy what they're doing over the summer. And it's always a big hit. We get kids in every day. They won't be out until June 1st when our kickoff starts, but we get kids in every day asking for their Challenger maps so they can get started.
And it's so important to know, especially as the schools close for the summer, that there is a place in town that you can go and get a good book.
Exactly, yeah. Because Hardin County schools let out yesterday. We've already had some kiddos in this morning who were like, I had to return my book to the library and I wasn't done. Please tell me you have a copy so I can finish it. And we do. So just stop on by and I'm sure we can set you up with something.
And one thing, especially with the younger kids that I want to mention, I saw on Facebook the other day that you are stopping late fees.
Yes, so we are now a fine-free library, and stuff gets in the way, we get that. So if your book's a couple days late, there's no longer any charges. The only time you'll ever see a charge has popped up on your account is if a book has gotten lost. And even then, just if it's under a bed, if it's tucked in a closet, just bring it in. That'll get rid of that fine. But otherwise, if life got in the way and you're a couple weeks late, just drop it in our drop box, bring it on by, we'll check it in. Everything's cleared away, blank slate.
Yeah, and it's so great, especially for people that may not live in Elizabethtown, that might, they might miss their deadline or they might not be able to make it in town the day that it's due.
Yeah. And we want to make sure we're encouraging folks to always stop by. I know sometimes it can be a big deterrent. It's like, well, my books are late. I don't want to pay the whatever amount. We'll just hold on to them, and then we lose those books. The people who might have wanted to check them out later lose them. And it can just be a deterrent to come back to the library, and we don't want that. So we're fine-free now and forevermore. So don't let that be a reason to stop you from coming in.
So going back to the events that you are doing this summer, is registration required for anything?
The only event that requires registration, at least right now, is our tween D&D and our teen D&D programs, and that's just because there are limited spots available. So we do ask that folks register for those in advance so that we can get all our spots filled. But everything else, so long as things don't get wild, we do have a limited amount of space in the library. Unfortunately, I wish it was, I can't help that. That's just construction. But other than that, everything else, just stop on by and join us if there's something on the calendar you see that you think looks fun.
So you could probably tell from my mug that I know what D&D is, but can you explain what D&D is?
Yeah. So D&D is just our shorthand for Dungeons & Dragons, because if you write Dungeons & Dragons out on the calendar, it takes up way too much space. So it's just our little collaborative storytelling platform that we do. And Adelle will talk more about the teen program. She's been running teen D&D for longer than I've been with the library, so it's always a very popular program. So popular that we get our 10 and 12-year-olds coming in and are like, please, 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 can I join? It's like, not yet. We got to keep our teen program separate from our children's programming. So we started this summer. We'll start our first tween, so 9 to 12-year-old Dungeons & Dragons campaign that kids can join. And it's very beginner friendly. So if you've got a kid who's interested because they've got friends who play it or a big brother that plays it, they can stop on by. We'll teach them how it goes.
So since we're talking about D&D, Adelle, can you talk a little bit about the pirate-themed D&D that you're running?
Well, I'm actually starting that in June. I took a break from Saturday D&D for a while. I'm doing it first and third Saturdays. So far, I haven't decided on too much other than it's called, I think, Pirates of the Lost Stars. And I've just decided it's going to be an ocean-themed campaign, and all of their characters are eventually going to end up on a pirate ship that's like a trading vessel, and they'll have to deal with basically your classic pirate adventure is probably going to take a lot of inspiration from Pirates of the Caribbean, things like that.
So in addition to the Dungeons & Dragons, you also have I want to make sure I'm saying this right, the Kentucky Shakespeare Company Stage Combat Workshop.
Yes, they are going to come in and do exactly what it says. They're going to do, I believe you said it's hand-to-hand combat mostly. So any kid who's interested in theater or acting or just interested in joining in general, even if they've never watched any sort of play or something before, is welcome to come. All of my programs are basically like first come, first serve. I think that they said they're cool with up to 20, 25 teens. So anyone is like definitely free to come the day of. It's going to be June 13th from 1 to 2 p.m.
Is registration required for any of the events that you all are throwing?
Only D&D, like she mentioned, which my teen D&D is currently already full. I opened up some spots last month and they were gone like that. Yeah, they have a great time. I have a lot of teens that return every time I do it. Some of them that have been coming for like 2 or 3 years in a row. I actually had spots open because I had some that aged out. They turned 19. They had to leave the program. And then we also get some new kids that come as well. Are we just moving on to my programming?
Yeah, well, one thing that I do want to ask, with any of the events at the library, is there a cost involved?
No, there's never any cost with any of our children's programming. We don't want money to be a reason that people aren't coming to the library. And Rebekah's not here to correct me, but for the most part, all of our adult program, there's no cost associated. If there is, it'll be marked on the calendar. So there will always be something that says there's a small fee associated, but none of our children's programming ever has any cost associated with it. And as the department head, I do want to mention about our stage combat, just so parents don't feel worried. It is all, there is no actual like fighting involved. It's not like a self-defense course. It's just how those like stage fights or like the fights in your favorite TV shows and movies are staged so it looks like they're fighting. At no point will any contact be made between children, just to get that safety concern out of the way.
So one thing I want to circle back on before we end the episode, Comics Plus. As graphic novels is something very near and dear to my heart, I'm currently reading Batman White Knight. Can you tell me a little bit about the Comics Plus program, which one of our interns, Kyla Barkley, texted me about very excitedly?
You want to get this one or you want me to?
I'll start. If there's anything I forget,
I'll fill in the gaps.
All right, so we actually just got Comics Plus. We were both super excited about it because graphic novels is probably one of like our top checkouts in both young adult and juvenile. They are well loved, so well loved that they are usually in very rough condition, or they love them so much they just don't come back. We always have kids asking for like Dog Man, Cat Kid, Big Nate, all of those, and they're constantly checked out. In the YA section we have a lot of manga, same thing. It's like, okay, the first 5 are always gone. So with Comics Plus, you can check out as many graphic novels and manga as you want on there. There's no limit, like on Overdrive, it is usually we have a certain number of digital copies, so maybe 1 to 3 people at a time you have to wait. This, as many people as possible can check it out. If you don't read something for a week, it'll be grayed out. You can click on it, it'll recheck out, counts for our circulation every single time. They have a desktop reading app, and you can also get an app on your phone. I've tried it. It's a pretty nice app so far.
And if not, we can get it for you. Our interlibrary loan system is amazing. If there's ever something we don't have at the library, we can just fill out a form for you. As long as it's more than a year old, we can check if a library somewhere nearby has it, and they'll mail it to us.
Well, you've heard it here, all the great stuff going on in the library. I wish I had more time. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm Jarrett Cox for Issues and Insights. I'll catch you down the road.